I'm Watanabe Shinji, Kudo Daidoshi Shihan. Today's video is the final installment of the series, a comparison between Kudo and Karate, featuring kicking techniques. Let's take a look at the difference between Kudo and Karate concepts through the kicks in Ido-Geiko. Then, check it out. Oath. Okay, let's start from front kick, maegeri. In general, maegeri in karate is practiced like this. Right? It's using the spring of the knee and kick hard by rear leg. The front kick is a very powerful attack, but it is a little difficult to use in kumite or competitions, I mean actual fights. So here is the front kick in Ido-Geiko of Kudo. It is done with the front leg from kumite dachi. In Kudo, maegeri is mainly used for defense. If you use maegeri to kick your opponent when he is about to step forward to attack, you can quickly stop him, whether it is a punch or a kick. Okay. For this reason, kick as if pushing rather than as if snapping. Of course, in actual Kudo fights, there are scenes where you can kick by the rear leg, as if pushing. Or kick hard like in karate with the aim of damaging the opponent. However, the most frequently used is this way. In other words, the easiest to use and therefore the one that should be practiced the most. That is how it is considered in Kudo. By the way, I mentioned earlier that it is difficult to use maegeri in actual fights. In karate, it is said that maegeri is the basic, and they actually practice it a lot through Kihon-Geiko and Ido-Geiko. But in actual fights, they mainly use the mawashi-geri, and maegeri is rarely seen. Why is that? This is my personal opinion, but I believe that there is a problem with the body manipulation. In modern karate, the main movement is to turn the body by using hikite. So, it's easier to use mawashi-geri than maegeri by turning the body. However, there are few body rotation movements in the original karate, especially the hips rotation movements. For example, nine hunch is like this. Not like this. Right? Or tomarisei-san is like this. Not like this. Right? If you master the way of fighting without turning the body, you would be able to use maegeri effectively. In fact, I have personally studied and practiced the old karate movements and begun to use my geri as my main weapon in actual Kudo competitions and kumite. If I start to talk this topic, it would be a very long story and it would take me away from the main topic of this article. So I will stop here. However, if you are interested, please watch the videos about Ido-Geiko karate in this channel. I'm sure you will find something new. Okay, the next is roundhouse kick, mawashi geri. Mawashi geri in Kudo is using the spins and do it like this. Take a step forward, straighten your back, and kick as if using your leg like a whip. At this time, you can swing your arms. As you saw also in my geri. You need to use your whole body to get more power. It's the same when kicking with the front leg. In Kudo, which specializes in non-armed fighting, the most common way to kick is to instantly switch the front and back legs. Swing the arms and use the power of the whole body to kick hard. On the other hand, in traditional karate, there are many schools that practice the kicks with the arms fixed here. And some may even have you hold a belt. In other words, you should not move your arms when you kick. You are taught that because, as I explained in the first video of this series, the original karate was premised on fighting with weapons, and even if you have no weapon, it was a compilation of techniques that can fight with the same physical manipulation. That was the original karate. So, if you are supposed to have a weapon, you can use your arms. Right? Or it's the same when you have a scythe instead of a long stick. If you swing your arms around, you can hurt yourself. Or if you have a weapon in only one hand, swinging your arm is more likely to cause you to lose balance. So you need to make a habit of that you don't move your arms when kicking. Then, of course, you will kick with only the power of your leg, and it will be difficult to exert big power. Therefore, you need to use the chusok and concentrate your power. Lastly, the knee kick. Also, this kick is easy to understand the difference between Kudo and Karate. The knee kick in Kudo looks like this. take a step forward, straighten your back, and kick as if bump your butt. The butt, in other words, you can say tandem. I mean, it's the whole body's COG, center of gravity. You bump it. This move creates power. The key to the move of this kick is to extend the ankle of the kicking foot. Because the right and the left are easily linked. For example, it's relatively easy to make the same movement with both hands. However, it is difficult to make different movements with the left and right hands. Isn't it? So, in this case, the kicking leg and the standing leg also tend to work together. So, when you extend the ankle of the kicking leg, the ankle of the standing leg naturally extends as well. This makes the butt high and more power. On the other hand, if the ankle of the kicking leg is bent, the ankle of the standing leg will also be bent. This is not good. It's no extension and no power. I know I just sounded a little negative, but actually the knee kick in traditional karate is like this. Right? I've said this many times, but the original karate was made with movements that allowed you to fight with weapons. So when you have a weapon, you have to step on it to catch its weight. This kind of bouncing and up and down movement is wasteful. Furthermore, in modern society, even outside, there are many places that are firm and flat, like paved roads, for example. If you are fighting only in such a place, it is no problem to use such bouncing and up and down movements. However, this was not the case in the era when karate was created. It may have rained the day before, and the fight may be on a muddy and slippery ground. It may be on soft sand, or it could be a bumpy gravel road. Considering these different situations, you need to be on your feet at all times. The same is true while moving. So in kata, you are walking. Never bouncing. Right? And when you are stepping on, your ankles are naturally bent. Therefore, the knee kick in traditional karate have to become like this. This knee kick also shows the difference between Kudo of the modern martial art and Karate of the traditional martial art. That's all. What did you think of this video? I hope this video will give you an opportunity to consider about your own martial arts. whether it's Kudo or Karate. I wish you a happy martial arts life. Os.